So this video is about why I have 3 or 4 devices up when I'm on Zoom. So let me run through them. I have a county ordered Chromebook that I have use regularly, an iPad, great investment, and a laptop. I wish I have this Ethernet cord also. I'll put a link in. It's like from Amazon. It's an Ethernet cord that is super, super helpful. I was going to order a Wi-Fi extender, but they're like $120, and I'll do it if I really need it. But I was having problems because, there are other people in the house who are doing their work, and I want to have enough connections that I'm not like glitchy or anything like that. So I ordered this Ethernet cord. It was so helpful. I can't plug it into a Chromebook because I don't think they have a port for them. No. But I have it plugged into my laptop, and that way I'm always connected to the internet, never have any issues, unless like my husband the other day, he unplugged the Wi-Fi, the router on accident during class. Anywho, so I have 3 devices up. My iPad, I use that for logging onto Zoom as well as my laptop. So I always have 2 devices on Zoom. And I tell students, that because they're like, why are there 2 of you? So I always have this up because I want to have the chat open. So if I'm sharing my screen and I have hands raised or the chat up, I may not be paying attention to it. Yes, like you get little notifications sometimes, but I don't like having to go back and forth. So I have this up on Zoom so that I see the chat all the time. I also am able to see if I'm sharing my screen, if it's glitchy, if it's slow, if it's not working, if it didn't share correctly or whatever. And that way I'm never confused at like what students are seeing. So I have this up so I'm like a participant or observer. And then I have the chat up and the participants list so that I can see who has their hand up. So helpful. I also have it up because sometimes I want to share a screen, but I also want them to see my face. So depending on what I'm trying to share, like in the morning for warm-up, they do Desmos or like some online platform with a code. And so I'll put on Zoom. I don't know if I have time, I'll try to show you how to do it. But when I'm on Zoom, you can actually share your screen. And so when you click share screen, you can share your whiteboard at the bottom. You may not be able to see it, but anywho, you can share your whiteboard and then type on it. So what I'll do every day is type a text box saying warm up, and then I'll say like go to this, you can do warm up, and then go to this website and go to this code. And that way students will see it. But they'll also see my face because on this computer I'll have my camera up so they can see both going on. Okay, so that's why I keep that up. I have this one up as like usually my Dell as my like main camera, screen share, things like that. I have my Chromebook up at the same time in the background. It seems overwhelming, but it's actually not. It's actually easier because sometimes you can get a little flustered when you're trying to do a million things. You have a million tabs open and you have one device in front of you. You're like going between programs and files, and it's too much. So that way you have like, if you designate certain ways to use these devices, you don't get confused. So I have this Chromebook up, and I usually have it like I have this big table, and I have it on the back of the table because I'm not using it as much. One thing I learned is that all the time students are emailing me during class because they can't get into Zoom, they got kicked out, they didn't know this, they didn't know that, whatever. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be late. And so I try not to stress myself out by checking my email because it's like I can't do everything. I can't. I would love to. But especially when you have 31 kids in the class, like I can't. And it's just one of you. And you only have an hour to teach. So I keep that up there. I have one tab open and I like to minimize like how many tabs I have open. One tab open for email just in case there's an emergency, something happens, a notification, a kid, parent, whatever. I have open my attendance list. And like, I think that's pretty much it. So I keep that in the background, nothing major. And that way I can just access it really quickly. I also do something in my class where I do teams and keep points. That can be another video to explain that. So I keep that on there, and that way, like, a team gets a point. I don't have to go through this computer, figure out what page was I on, what tab was I on. I just go right here, type it there. You can always just have like a piece of paper out for these things too, but I like to have mine on the computer. So I have 3 devices up. I have my phone always right by me because, like the other day, my husband accidentally unplugged the router. My class was still on Zoom, and God knows who Zoom made the host, okay? So I didn't have any Wi-Fi, but I can get Wi-Fi on my iPad. That's a good investment. So if you do buy an iPad, make sure that you can get like cellular data, whatever. Anywho, so I grabbed my phone really quickly and I got on Zoom from my phone, accessing my data, not my Wi-Fi. And that way I was able to take back my classroom. So I always have it up. You can even have your phone be one of your devices that are up. You can even have your phone be whatever, or just have it just right here just in case you get disconnected. So always have a backup. I think that's it. So this is why I have 3 devices up. It is not chaotic. It actually works really, really well. Oh, I also have my Chromebook up, the background device, for things like my lesson plan. If I need to like glance over and look and remember what I was planning on doing or for the day, because like I said, like I don't want a bunch of tabs open that I'm trying to navigate. So on this computer, I want this to be only for Zoom, for the tabs that my students need to see when I share my screen, etc. So that's it. That's why I have all these devices.